On the morning of September 11, 2025, federal agents from U.S. Homeland Security stormed the Hyundai Motor and LG Energy Solution battery plant in Georgia, shattering the calm of a typical workday with the blare of sirens and the flash of official vehicles. This sprawling facility, a gleaming symbol of America's electric vehicle ambitions and a cornerstone of Georgia's economic future, had been celebrated as a triumph of international partnership and technological progress. The operation quickly escalated into the largest single-site enforcement action in the department's history, sending shockwaves not only through the workforce but also reverberating across boardrooms and newsrooms nationwide. Hundreds of employees were detained in a matter of hours, including 300 South Korean engineers and technicians whose expertise was vital to the plant's daily operations and future innovations. The raid, which Homeland Security officials hailed as a major success, also swept up U.S. citizens and permanent residents, sparking immediate controversy and raising urgent questions about the scope and intent of the operation. Outside the plant, anxious families gathered, desperate for information about their loved ones. The day's chaos shattered the fragile trust between the foreign investor and the local community, leaving many to wonder about the future of such partnerships. Production ground to a halt, with assembly lines frozen and machinery silent. The sudden disruption ignited a national debate about immigration, labor practices, and the risks and rewards of foreign investment in critical industries. News coverage exploded as politicians, business leaders, and community members weighed in. The aggressive intervention signaled a new era in U.S. policy, one where even the most significant economic projects could be upended overnight by federal action. What began as a day of innovation and promise ended in uncertainty and fear, leaving a community and a nation grappling with the consequences of a dawn disrupted. In the wake of the raid, President Trump took to Truth Social, framing the event as a triumph of his America First agenda. He wasted no time in using the platform to rally his supporters, declaring that foreign companies would no longer be allowed to profit from American markets without giving back to American communities. The message was crafted to resonate with workers who felt left behind by globalization, and it quickly gained traction online. Trump welcomed foreign investment, but with a new set of conditions. He demanded that companies like Hyundai not only build factories on U.S. soil, but also prioritize hiring and training American workers above all else. The administration insisted that these companies invest in local communities, support American suppliers, and create pathways for American advancement within their ranks. The message was clear: foreign capital is appreciated, but only if it directly benefits the U.S. workforce. Any investment that didn't translate into American jobs or skills development was now seen as falling short of the new standard. This public ultimatum turned the raid into political theater, signaling the end of foreign companies' autonomy in hiring. The spectacle was designed to send a message not just to Hyundai, but to every multinational operating in the U.S.: adapt or face consequences. Hyundai and others now faced a stark choice: align with political demands or risk regulatory crackdowns. Executives scrambled to interpret the new rules, weighing the costs of compliance against the threat of public backlash and government intervention. Yet, the administration's stance ignored the complexities of advanced manufacturing, where foreign expertise is often essential. Many of these factories rely on global teams to innovate and maintain competitiveness, and the new restrictions threaten to disrupt that delicate balance. Trump's narrative, however, simplified the issue to foreigners taking American jobs, fueling his base and putting global corporations on notice. The rhetoric stoked public emotions, leading to protests and rallies that amplified the pressure on foreign firms. Compliance with America First was no longer optional. Companies were forced to overhaul their hiring practices, supply chains, and even their public messaging to avoid being targeted. The tone was set for a new confrontational era in U.S. economic relations, one where every foreign investment came with American strings firmly attached, and the world was left to watch how far the U.S. would go to protect its own. Seoul reacted swiftly and sharply to the raid, with the South Korean government publicly criticizing its longtime ally. Vice Foreign Minister Park Yoon-ju called the operation regrettable, masking deep frustration and a sense of betrayal. Urgent negotiations led to the release of detained workers, but the diplomatic damage lingered. The incident threatened years of economic cooperation, and cast doubt on the reliability of the US as an investment destination. For South Korea, the raid was a blow to trust and mutual respect, undermining the spirit of partnership. Leading Korean corporations had invested billions in America's EV supply chain, only to see their efforts disrupted. The episode introduced new political risks, forcing Seoul to reconsider its approach to US engagement. The alliance's economic pillar was visibly shaken, with public defense of Korean interests now necessary. The recent raid and Trump's escalating demands have left Hyundai at a critical crossroads. Should the company continue with its massive US investment, or pause and reconsider in light of mounting risks and uncertainty? For years, Hyundai has been a symbol of international confidence in the American manufacturing sector, pouring billions into state-of-the-art facilities and creating thousands of jobs. The Georgia plant, in particular, stands as a strategic linchpin for America's electric vehicle future, supporting not only high-paying jobs but also a growing ecosystem of suppliers and local businesses. It's a cornerstone of the US push to lead in clean energy and advanced manufacturing. If Hyundai decides to pull back, the consequences for the US auto industry could be severe, threatening not just direct jobs, but also domestic battery production, research, and the broader supply chain that depends on these investments. The current political climate has made the US seem unpredictable, and at times even hostile to foreign corporations. This uncertainty is causing anxiety not just for Hyundai, but for international investors everywhere. Legal agreements and sound economic logic now appear vulnerable to sudden political shifts, making it increasingly difficult for companies to plan for the long term or commit to new projects with confidence. Hyundai's decision will set a powerful precedent for other global investors. If they choose to leave, it could trigger a wave of capital flight, as other companies rethink their own American ambitions. Ironically, the America First approach could end up weakening the very industries and jobs it aims to protect, by driving away the international investment that fuels growth and innovation. The fate of the Georgia plant and the livelihoods of thousands of American workers now hangs in a delicate balance caught between risk and reward, politics and progress. The world is watching Hyundai's next move, knowing that whatever happens here could shape the future of global investment in America for years to come. The Hyundai raid is the latest example of the Trump administration's aggressive America First trade policy. Tariffs have been used as leverage, pushing allies like Japan and South Korea to invest billions in the US or face steep penalties. These deals have reshaped global trade but also sparked legal challenges and diplomatic friction. A recent court ruling declared most Trump tariffs illegal, adding uncertainty for foreign companies navigating US demands. The result is a volatile global trade environment with nations and corporations constantly reacting to Washington's next move. While some investments have been secured, resentment and retaliatory measures are growing. The old system of predictable multilateral trade has given way to bilateral brinkmanship and instability. For businesses, the risks of operating in the US have never been higher. The clash between Hyundai and the US goes beyond jobs and tariffs. It's a battle over the future of the auto industry. Hyundai is betting big on electric, hybrid, and hydrogen technologies, seeing innovation as its edge. The company's commitment to advanced tech often puts it at odds with regulators focused on short-term job numbers. The Georgia raid detained not just workers, but the very engineers needed to launch high-tech operations and train Americans. America First's focus on immediate local jobs risks stifling the innovation it claims to support. Political instability and a lack of appreciation for global expertise may drive companies like Hyundai to take their best technologies elsewhere. The real question, does America want to build a high-tech, knowledge-based industry or just protect old assembly lines? The answer will shape the nation's industrial future. The stakes are higher than ever. Hyundai's US challenges are magnified by global instability and fragile supply chains. Geopolitical shocks like the 2025 Middle East crisis and threats to the Strait of Hormuz have sent energy prices and shipping costs soaring. These disruptions hit Asian manufacturers hard, causing delays, higher costs, and production halts. The interconnected global economy means regional crises can cripple industries continents away. For Hyundai, every investment decision now carries unprecedented risk. The promise of the US market is offset by unpredictable policies and global volatility. The margin for error is shrinking fast. Aggressive trade policies and diplomatic rifts have brought the U.S. auto industry to a crossroads. The Hyundai case warns that protectionism can backfire, driving away the very investors needed for America's EV future. If the U.S. is seen as risky and unpredictable, capital and innovation will go elsewhere. The stakes are not just economic, they're strategic, shaping America's role in the 21st century economy. A successful policy must balance job creation with openness to global expertise and investment. The challenge is to move from confrontation to collaboration, building durable partnerships with allies. America's industrial future depends on recalibrating its approach before the next wave of innovation passes it by. The time to act is now.